All right, my friends, welcome back to the RPG Backlog, episode 2 of our Bastion arc. Last week, we started the intro to the game, the first 5 sections of the game, I should say. And then this time, we decided to go through the next 8. So correct me if I have this wrong, Travis, but we did the Hanging Gardens, Pith Orchard, Cinderbrick Fort, Langston River, Prosper Bluff, the Wild Outskirts, Jocelyn Bog, and Rothus Lagoon.
I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah. Because the last bit of that one was the ankle gator or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I wanted to make sure I was like, I know for a fact the bog, because that was interesting. And then I was like, yes. I think I did the lagoon afterwards, and yes, I did do the lagoon. So
yep. Okay. I thought we were stopping at the bog, and then I was like, nope, 8 is the lagoon. So I went through to the lagoon where the ankle gator is.
Yep. So did I. Okay, so we're on the same page for once.
Yeah. We did it. So my opinion of this game has changed pretty drastically. So last week we were talking, and for the most part, I was kind of like, meh, like this is a Hades, 0.5. This has got a ton of ideas that were later really expanded upon in Hades and done better, and it just felt very straightforward. I'm kind of going through these very short levels, getting a core, rebuilding my city, and then I'm saving some survivors. Sure. That's not what this game is.
No.
Wow, the game changed in my view dramatically. So one of the people that you have saved, I think his name is Rolf.
Was it Zolf?
Zolf. Thank you. Zolf. That's right. Zolf, which is one of the Ceylondia is the kind of nation or whatever that we're in, and Zolf comes from the Ura, which are like an underground dwelling people, and just like different ethnicity or whatever. Zia comes from the same folks as well, but there's this book, this journal that was discovered, I guess. I can't remember exactly where it came from. It was in one of the levels, right?
So, first of all, you're kind of jumping over who Zia was, because Zia wasn't in this to begin with when we started this. But yeah, you found the, I want to say right before the bog. So I think you found the outskirts right when you found Zia. You found both of them. And because it was Zia's father's journal, but she could not read it and didn't know what was in it. And then when you go out and do some other stuff, all hell breaks loose, essentially.
Yeah, apparently Zolf reads something in the book that pisses him off, and he goes to town on the monument in the middle of the Bastion where you're bringing back the cores to, and just goes on a rampage and leaves. And then you are no longer hunting cores, you're hunting shards, which are like small pieces of core basically, and that's the mechanism to like upgrade the Bastion like to a second level, each of the the armory or the forge or the memorial or whatever, to give it like another level of stuff that you can turn in your shards for, or your whatever those little blue crystal things are.
Yeah.
So it took me by surprise that I just thought it was a straightforward kind of thing, and all of a sudden the story zags, and the people that you're saving are not really maybe wanting to be saved, or there's some deeper story piece going on. Something in that book. I guess I don't really know what was in the book that made the guy so mad.
Well, so it had alluded to beforehand that Ceylondia and the Ura had previously been at odds with each other. Like even the narrator says something along those lines at one point in time, just in passing.
Right, that's true. Right.
So my assumption is, based upon what I'm seeing and from what I've seen so far, by the way, we have gone beyond where I made it when I played this over a decade ago. So this is coming from speculation only. What my assumption is there was a very distinct difference in power between the two, And my assumption is the Solondians took advantage of the Uruk, and I'm thinking it's probably going to be something like what, immigrant Americans did to Native Americans way back in the day.
Oh, shit.
That's my assumption, because he went off, like you said, he went off the rocker, he destroyed everything, he attacked the old man.
Yep. For a reason. It's got to be a big-ass reason, because they seem to be, getting along.
Yeah, everyone was all happy and kumbaya, and then he read that book, and then, as I said, all hell broke loose. So there's got to be something pretty massive in there. So that's my assumption. I'm assuming we'll find out more, but the way this has been kind of piecemealing the story to us, it kind of feels almost like a Souls game, where it's like you kind of have to go finding it. It's not going to hand you the stuff on a silver platter.
Yeah, and even with the narrator, where the narrator was two sentences of a thing that kind of has a little nugget in it, but mainly alludes to other stuff. The story comes sparsely, but then that's what was so surprising about this section, was that towards the end, right, as we got the last two sections, really, the bog and then the lagoon, the story started to change dramatically and have big reveals, and the whole thing just made me realize I didn't understand what this game was, because there's way more of an interesting story here than I initially thought. I thought it was just a hack and slash without much going for it besides go save people, but that's wrong.
Well, in a way, it still is Hades, 0.5 or something beta of Hades, because Hades is kind of the same way. On the surface, the story was you're just trying to escape Hades, but there's a lot more to that one as you get through it than just you trying to escape the underground.
Yep, right.
So, to me, I think that assessment was still true, but I think this is a nice surprise compared to what I think we thought it was more like an alpha version of Hades and not like a pre-release beta version of it, I guess is a better way of putting it.
Yeah, I think the surprise for me is, and I shouldn't have been surprised about this, is that it's really got its own identity. It just felt so much like Hades, because I played so much of that I wasn't seeing past those similarities to see what it was on its own 2 feet. And this section was the very much like, I'm my own game, god damn it, quit comparing me to Hades. I've got other things to offer that are not even in that game, and there's still tons of similarities obviously still to Hades, but god, it's got something of its own. I
mean, the gameplay is still kind of basic.
It is,
to be fair.
Yeah.
But the story and the music in this, my God, when you catch up to Zia, when you first find her, just the song that she's singing.
Oh, that song, man, it's beautiful.
I was just like, I actually got to her and I just kind of stood there for a minute, just letting that song play. Well, it's not like she's saying words either. It's just like a humming.
Well, it reminded me of that level in Hades where I think it was the second world, perhaps, where every once in a while you'll hear the singing and go towards it, and it's one of the characters that will give you a power up or something like that. If you remember that.
Yeah.
So kind of the same concept, but yeah, that was beautiful. Yep, and that's how we found Zia. So you were right. I skipped past that part because we did that earlier in this section, not the last section.
Yeah, I was like, that was pretty easy. Was that the Hanging Gardens, or was that? I can't remember now.
Yeah. I mean, they're all pretty short, so some sort of blur together for me. And then was it the bog where it was just trippy, where you get towards? Yes. Oh my god.
So, the story and the music is carrying this game straight up. The gameplay is not something. The gameplay is not bad, but you're not playing this for the gameplay loop. It's not that rewarding. You're playing this for the story and everything else around it, which is completely fine. But the bog was one of those things where it was kind of a way of retelling what had happened, giving a little more context to it.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, this is kind of a cool way to do a little recap, and it didn't seem like it was forced or that it was done just to make the game feel longer. It just felt like it was hey, we're going to give you a little reminder, but we're going to insert more into this in the process.
Yeah, it was a really cool way where like the Jocelyn Bog, you kind of get to the shard pretty quickly, and I was like, oh, that was straightforward. Okay, but no, you pass out, you hallucinate. You're going through like little sections of different areas that you were in earlier. The Bastion, obviously, Hanging Gardens, Prosper Bluff. Back to the campsite at the beginning, the wharf district from the very beginning, and you have to like pick up different things to kind of light the fire to wake back up. But throughout, it's like it's almost like the narrator. I didn't know if it was really happening or not, but like the narrator was narrating you like destroying shit. So, and I didn't know if that was you representing someone else or if it was you who had actually done that before in the past, and you're part of the reason why the calamity happened.
Actually, I didn't even think of that. That's
I don't know. I have no idea. That's what I was thinking. I was like, is this a representation of like someone came through and like destroyed shit and that's part of the calamity? Or was it you? Or was it you representing Solondians? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of questions, which I thought was really cool because I swear to God, this felt like just a two-dimensional story up until this section, you know?
Yeah, I didn't go that far. I just thought it was just kind of them giving you a refresher of what you'd been through up to this point. But it could have been indicative of something.
Well, when you're in the saloon, I think that was, in the saloon, you have all the security turrets and whatever things you have to go through. But at the end, in order to continue, you have to basically defeat the character there.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a statue, though, as I recall, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a statue, right. But it felt like meaningful in some way.
It could be. I don't know. I wasn't really thinking of it that way when I did it. Probably because when I went through that place the first time, I accidentally destroyed that statue to begin with, so I didn't think much of it when I did it again.
Yeah, it was like a blue flag on it. It was like I was standing there like, what do I do? And it was like, you got to hit it, basically. I was like, all right. In this section, in terms of the mechanics, I picked up the musket in this section, which is my go-to range weapon now. And I've finally did the proving grounds just for the weapons that I have, which are the war blade, or I think it's war blade.
Yeah.
And then the musket, the two that I use. So I tried to get as much upgrade as I could for those because I use them a lot.
And
I like the musket because up front, I mean, if you get really close, like it's really damaging. And if you are further back, it spreads more. And so for some of the smaller enemies, like the spread is great when there's a bunch of them together. I really like it as opposed to like the bow, which is like a really, a narrow shot. And then obviously the warblade is really fast slashes.
What do you think of the proving grounds, though?
I thought that the musket one was interesting, where it was like a puzzle to try to shoot all of the gourds or fucking cactuses or whatever they were off the edge in the least amount of shots as possible.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a puzzle more than like it was teaching you how to use the weapon, and that closer will push things further away. Further, if you stand further back, it won't do as much, have as much force. So I thought that was a neat way to do it. So I liked it, but not enough for me to go and do the ones for the weapons that I don't use.
Fair. I haven't done, so I've been rocking the musket too. I haven't done it yet, honestly, because I was just kind of looking around. I was like, well, okay. I did the dream. I don't know if you did that.
I did, where you smoke you like take a hit of the thing. Yeah. I went through like 12 or 13 levels of that and then got defeated.
So I got all the way through it.
Oh, okay.
I was like, that kind of took it out of me, right?
Yeah.
I found that really frustrating because I was like, oh, okay. I've been in here for a while. This is taking some time. I'm over this shit. I'm ready to leave. And you go and hit the little paths to leave. It's like, no, I'm just going to launch you back into the middle of the map. And I'm like, oh, fuck you, man. And it just keeps sending you more and more and more. You were pretty close to the end of it, I'm assuming. It felt like there was around 15 of them. I don't know. I wasn't really counting. I just knew by the time it was done, I was like, I'm so over this shit.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then I was like, okay, no, I'm out. I'm not
What's
doing
the
this
reward
for
at the end? What did you get?
Jack and shit.
Oh, no. What the hell? I thought you get like some cool upgrade.
Nah, I don't think you got, Yeah.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, I don't remember getting anything. You get a bunch of shit for leveling up. I think that's about it.
I guess that makes sense.
But you also get more story pieces about the kid. Like, I think you kind of talk about the kid a little bit, and I think it was kind of revealed that he is Ura himself.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I think he is. Or maybe I'm getting something confused. Maybe that.
No, you might be right. I don't know. I know he's from Ceylondia, but I don't know. Maybe he's from somewhere else.
I don't know. But I don't know, man. I did it, and I was sitting there going, I was getting annoyed with it because it just, every time you think you're done, it's like, oh, let me throw more shit at you, and more shit at you, and more shit at you. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, I don't even want to do this anymore. Just let me cancel out and leave.
Yeah.
But it won't let you.
And you couldn't get out, yeah.
No, you literally have, the only way to get out is to die or beat it. And my stubborn ass wasn't going to die unless it happened by me just fucking up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just yeah, I get that for sure. Because I would not want to do that and then go do Proving Grounds. Although, like I said, the musket one is more of a puzzle than it is like a brute force, kind of battle. But I felt overall that I feel like the levels are still pretty much straightforward. Like the ground's coming up to meet you. You're kind of exploring the quote unquote maze or whatever to kind of get to the end, get the core. There's not a lot to mix that up too much. A couple where you get it and you have to like run out were more interesting. But I think as you mentioned, the gameplay for the most part is not the thing here. It's the music and it's the story. And up until a section, I didn't think it was the story either. I thought it was just the music. So 2 out of 3, like it's enough to carry me.
And to be fair, the 2 out of those 3 are above average in how good they are. They are amazing. Yeah. So for anyone who listens is like, oh, gameplay sucks. It's not the gameplay sucks. It doesn't have a hook in it like something like Monster Hunter or Dark Souls or Hades or any other game where you're like any like Metroidvania type thing. Like it doesn't have that hook. You don't feel like you gain anything from the gameplay itself other than getting more of the story and the music. So I'm totally fine with that though.
Yeah, I am too, especially for such a short game. Like we're gonna finish it in like an hour and a half. Okay, knock on wood, I guess. But we've got through the majority of this game. We have 7 sections left, and these 8 sections took me probably, I don't know, 2 hours, maybe.
That's a good question. How is
maybe 2.5?
I'm at 3.3 hours of playtime on Bastion, and we're 2/3 of the way through it.
Yeah, exactly.
At least 2/3. So what? Another hour? Yeah, I'd say an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's what I feel like too. It's an hour and a half. Probably makes the most sense. So for that short a runtime, like, okay, like the gameplay, the battle mechanics, at least specifically, are not anything offensive. Like it's okay, it's good, decent, whatever, serviceable. Interesting enough that I wanted to upgrade my weapons, I suppose.
So I attribute this game to something like Journey, right? I love that game. That game was a game that is utterly fucking amazing for so many reasons. Like the world, the journey, I mean, obviously it's called Journey, but the journey itself that you go through, the music, but then the realization of what's really going on when you get to the end of the journey and you have to start it all over again.
Yep.
Was like, holy crap. Like there's not a lot of gameplay. It's literally just move forward and avoid shit. And there's not really that much shit to avoid. But that game, hands down, I will say is one of the best games I've ever played.
Oh, yeah.
And this is kind of in that vein. Like, it's not one of the best games I've ever played, don't get me wrong. But the story and the music is just so awesome that you're like, I want to keep playing. I want to see what's going on. I want to learn more about this world. And that's an awesome achievement, especially for a first game out the door.
Yep. Yeah, this for the first game from the studio, Jeez, that's pretty amazing.
And you gotta give them a little bit of props too, because they do have a pretty decent. All the weapons play differently, straight up. Like none of them play even remotely close to the same, which
No,
is
they
pretty
don't.
impressive
Right.
too.
Yep, I agree.
So, I mean, technically, you could just do it with like the repeater and the musket and just never melee a damn thing. And
right.
now I'm thinking I might do that.
I've been honest. I've been using the musket more than the Warblade. Like probably 75% of the time I used the musket. And when I upgraded to get the 33% cooldown on the reload, that really helped a lot on that.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might go because the last two weapons we got were the dueling pistols and the pike.
Right. Yeah, and that pike was interesting for that ankle biter or ankle gator. I mean.
Well, I just liked it because it kind of keeps you at a distance from shit, which is kind of nice. But now I'm kind of thinking maybe I will go with the dueling pistols and the musket. So the pistols were pretty solid at range, and then the musket for anything that gets close.
Oh, now that you mention it, I never tried. In my head, you can choose the musket or the pistols because they're both ranged weapons. Can I slot in one of the ones?
Yeah, you can slot in whatever you want.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I might go with. I'm looking ahead at what some of the other weapons are too, and I'm like, wait, there's a thing called an army carbine. Okay, that might have to be what I use. But yeah, you get because at one time, the reason why I know this is the case is because I had, and I don't know why this happened. Is I was doing the same thing with you. I was running around with a war machete and the musket, and then when I picked up the dueling pistols, it replaced my war machete. And I was like, crap. But the damage on was crappy because I hadn't upgraded them at all. So I switched back to the war machete. So now I'm like, okay, I might go back to upgrade those and then pivot to using musket and dueling pistols. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I'm looking forward to the rest of the game now. And I was I played like one of the pieces of I think it was the first one, the Hanging Gardens, early in the week. And I didn't play again for like 5 days because I was just not really into it. And then I obviously picked it up yesterday again because I wanted to be ready for today. And it was much better. And then this morning I played the rest. And then it was like, that's when it hooked me this morning.
That's funny that you say that. So I played it early in the week because I was like, I'm not really too keen on this. Because literally going into the week, I was like, I don't really like the game, but I kind of need to do it for this. Mm-hmm. Monster Hunter Wilds came out last week, and I was waiting for the big patch to come through because I knew that their computer performance was going to suck. And I was like, okay, I'm going to knock this out before Wilds gets their shit in a better place for me to play that. So I forced myself to play it, and I was the same way. I started off like, I just gotta get through it. Yep. And then I hit Zia. I was like, okay, I like her music. And then it just like the pace of the story just picked up from her. Like
it did. Absolutely right.
Yeah, like you got her, and it was like basically you did one more thing, and then Zulf destroys shit. You're like, oh, what? And so yeah.
And then it picks up from there.
I almost, when I got to the end of the section, I was like I almost wanted to keep going. I'm like, no, I'm not allowed to do this. I got to stop right here.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. We're not going to play too much.
But there is a couple things about the mechanics of the game that actually irk me and I find slightly annoying. And the one being that there is, and I know this was made in 2011, there is no way to manual save at a given point in time. Like,
no, definitely not.
Even if I was in a Bastion, you should be allowed to just save in the Bastion. Right? I get it, not saving out in the middle of the world, but there I should be able to save.
Yeah. Well, and there was something I did in the Bastion after I got back, and then I turned it off after I did the thing, turned it back on, a couple days later, and I had to redo that little thing. I'm like, damn.
That's the exact reason why too, because I did the same shit. I got to the Bastion, ran around, upgraded shit, did this, did that, talked to everyone. I'm like, sweet. All right, I'm gonna call it good. Log out, and then when I booted it back up again, none of that shit had been done, and I had to do it all over again. I'm like, fuck you, man. Like literally, that was one of the things that irked me so bad. I was like, you should have been able to save after doing all that. But no, it only saves when you move in and out of a world. That's it. And that's dumb. I feel like they need to go in and patch that shit. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, this far afterwards, they're probably not going to. But yeah, I can see why.
I know, but
why it would be good.
That's my biggest complaint right now.
Yep, totally. I have the same one. Other than that, I mean, that's not a small thing because you losing progress sucks. But right. This is such an interesting week because thinking about like Final Fantasy, I was thinking about Final Fantasy 12 quite a bit and Bastion in terms of these podcast arcs where we were kind of, having some fun with 12, but not as much as we were hoping we would get and maybe being a bit more down on it. And I feel like last week it was a bit kind of down on it too. Like there's something here, but it's not really clicking with either one of us. And then this week, quite a turnaround.
I mean, last week I kept saying, I don't want to bash it. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not Final Fantasy 12. It doesn't suck like that. But I felt, yes, I kind of felt like we were a little hard on this game last week. On Final Fantasy 12, we were destroying that game. Let's be fair. By the end of it, we were just like, fuck this game. And there was at least I was. And I'm not going to
I was warmer on it. I was warmer on it than you were, even though I didn't find it wasn't as interesting to me as I was hoping it was going to be. But I did play through it, which means I did like it. But this one, like, is it's just picked up at the right time. Like, I'm just ready to get through the rest of it because I want to know what the story. I want to know what's going on.
I'm going to wait because I'm in the middle of Wilds and But I agree with you. This has it has gone from a meh to all right. Let's play this game. Let's go. Let's do this.
That's exactly right. Which is really cool. I'm so happy to go back and discover games in our backlog where we're like, you know what? Damn, I'm really glad I played this game, as opposed to I just spent 50 hours on Final Fantasy 12 and that was meh.
I mean, in all fairness, I am glad I still played that game since I was so excited back in the day when it released, and then I saw the gameplay of it on my roommate. I was like, oh, screw this game. Story was good. Yeah. Everything else about that game sucked. Everything.
Except for the hunts. I mean, I feel like the game shined in the special optional hunts. I wish more of that was in the main game. But y'all can go back and listen to our Final Fantasy 12 arc. We don't need to relitigate this.
Yeah, we don't need to rehash that garbage.
Just a counterpoint to the vibes last week versus this week. It's good. I'm kind of hoping, depending on how long Tom wants to take a break from Final Fantasy before we get into 3, like I think Transistor would be awesome after this. So we can talk about that.
We'll figure it out. I mean, I'm game to do it. We got to figure out what Tom's schedule is and when he wants to jump back into
exactly
all this stuff. We're giving it a couple of weeks. This is a good palate cleanser. I'm glad we're doing this one. It's not one of the ones where I'm like, oh, I regret the time I spent on it, like I have with some other games. We'll stop bashing. But yeah, it's a nice change of pace, and they've done a really good job here. I'm glad we kept pushing through.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, next week we are going to push through. I closed the fucking window. We're going to push through.
It will be Point Limon. Mispronouncing the crap out of that one. Colford Cauldron, Mount Zond, Burston Quarry, Urzindra Gate, Zoltan's Hollow, and the Tazol Terminals.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's what we'll be running through for the next section and all the way through the end of the game. So next episode 3 of the arc, will be our final one for Bastion. So we hope you'll come back, tune in. And until then, please rate us on your podcast service of choice. Tell your friends, let everyone know what we're doing about Bastion, how much we love it. And we'll be back next week to tell you how much we love it by the end, I'm sure.
All right. Later.
All right. See y'all later, folks.